The sound of boots on concrete woke me at 5:47 a.m. Not the shuffle of morning joggers or the hurried click of office workers. These were deliberate, purposeful steps that stopped 3 feet from where I lay curled against the brick wall of the shuttered sporting goods store. I was 62 years old, a retired Denver Fire Department captain with 28 years of service, and I was timing my mornings by which dumpsters got emptied first. I didn't open my eyes. Sometimes, if you stayed still enough, security guards moved on. Sometimes they didn't. Robert Patterson? A man's voice. Professional. Not a cop. Not security. I opened one eye. Custom leather shoes. Wool dress pants with a sharp crease. A leather briefcase that probably cost more than I'd spent on food in the last month. Who's asking? My voice came out rougher than I intended. The cold did that. My name is David Chen. I'm an attorney with Morrison and Associates. He crouched down, and I could see his face now. Asian man, maybe 50, expensive haircut, genuinely concerned eyes. I've been looking for you for 3 weeks. I sat up slowly, every joint protesting. Whatever it is, I can't afford it. Actually, Mr. Patterson, I have something for you. He pulled out a manila envelope from his briefcase. Do you remember Captain Walter Morrison, Fire Station 19, back in 1991? The name hit me like smoke inhalation. Walt Morrison, the captain who'd pulled me from a collapsed warehouse when I was a rookie, who'd mentored me through my first 5 years on the force, who I'd later pulled from a burning apartment complex in '93, breaking 3 ribs in the process. Walt had retired to Scottsdale 15 years ago. I'd lost track of him after everything fell apart. Walt died? I asked. 4 months ago. Lung cancer. He was very specific in his will about finding you. Chen held out the envelope. He left you his entire estate. I stared at that envelope like it might explode. Walt barely knew me the last 20 years. He knew enough. He followed your career, attended your Medal of Valor ceremony in 2008, sat in the back. He was there when you made captain in 2012. Chen's voice softened. He knew about your divorce, too. And what happened after? My throat tightened. How much? After taxes and estate fees, $34 million. Plus a condo in Scottsdale and his vintage car collection. The world tilted. I grabbed the wall to steady myself. That's not. Walt was a firefighter. We don't have that kind of money. His wife's family owned commercial real estate in Phoenix. When she died, Walt inherited everything, no children, and he was very clear about who should receive his estate when he passed. I looked at this lawyer, at his expensive suit and his careful concern, then down at my own clothes, the same jeans I'd been wearing for 2 weeks, the donated jacket with someone else's name still stitched on it, the boots held together with duct tape. There's a condition, Chen said quietly. Of course there was. Walt wants you to establish a foundation for retired first responders who are struggling, PTSD, addiction, homelessness, family issues, all of it. He saw what happened to too many good firefighters and cops after they left the service. Chen pulled out a letter from the envelope. He wrote this himself. Said you'd understand why it has to be you. I took the letter with shaking hands. Walt's handwriting, shaky but unmistakable. Rob, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Good. I was tired anyway. You saved my life twice. Once in that warehouse, once when you talked me down from my own service weapon after Linda died. You never knew about that second time, did you? I was in my car outside your station, gun in my lap, and you knocked on my window to invite me to the retirement party for Chief Hansen. You said, "Can't let you sit this one out, Captain," like you knew. Maybe you did. I spent the last 15 years trying to figure out how to repay you. Then I heard about your divorce, about Jennifer taking everything, about your daughter choosing her side. I heard you lost your pension somehow in that settlement. I don't know the details and I don't need to. I heard you ended up on the streets. I heard it, and I did nothing. I'm sorry for that. This money is yours, but it comes with a mission. There are too many guys like us who gave everything to the job and got nothing back when they needed it. Build something that would have saved you. Build something that will save the others. Don't let them become ghosts, Rob. Save them the way you saved me. Walter Morrison. I read it 3 times. My eyes burned, but no tears came. I'd run out of those months ago. I don't. I started, then stopped. I've been living behind a dumpster for 4 months. How am I supposed to run a foundation? Mr. Patterson, the estate includes a year's stipend for you personally, enough to get back on your feet, find housing, eat real meals. The foundation funding is separate. Walt set up everything to make this possible. Chen stood and offered his hand. The question isn't whether you can do it, the question is whether you will. I looked at that outstretched hand. Clean. Professional. The hand of a man whose biggest problem this morning was probably traffic. Then I looked at my own hand. Dirty. Scarred. Missing half a fingernail from a fight with a drunk 3 weeks ago who tried to steal my sleeping bag. I took his hand and let him pull me to my feet. There's one more thing, Chen said. Walt was very clear. Before you can access the full inheritance, you need to spend 2 weeks living exactly as you are now. He wanted to make sure you understood the people you'd be helping. Really understood them. I almost laughed. I've been homeless for 4 months. I think I understand. With respect, sir, Walt's condition was specific. 2 more weeks, documented. Then the money is yours. He pulled out a card. I've booked you a room at the Curtis Hotel for 2 weeks from today. Meet me there at 6 p.m. on November 22nd. Until then, he looked uncomfortable. You keep doing what you've been doing. He left me standing there with a letter, a business card, and $34 million I couldn't touch for 2 more weeks. The first person I told was Earl. I found him in his usual spot under the Colfax Avenue Bridge, wrapped in a nest of blankets despite the morning sun. Earl was 71, a Vietnam vet with a Purple Heart and a drinking problem. He'd been on the streets for 15 years. You're full of shit, Patterson, he said when I finished explaining. $34 million. Right. And I'm the King of England. I'm serious. So am I. You know how many times I've heard some variation of everything's about to change. Last month, Carlos thought he'd won the lottery. Turned out to be a scam. Month before that, Jenny thought her son was coming to get her. He never showed. Earl pulled out a cigarette, his hands trembling from more than just the cold. Hope is dangerous out here, Rob. It kills more people than the cold does. Look at the card. Morrison and Associates. That's a real law firm. Earl glanced at the embossed card, then back at me. Let's say it's real. Let's say some fire captain you knew died and left you a fortune. What are you going to do with it? There's a condition. I have to build a foundation. For guys like us. First responders who fell through the cracks. Something changed in Earl's expression. First responders. Yeah. You know how many cops walked past me yesterday? 7. You know how many stopped? 0. His voice was bitter. I was Marine Force Recon. I have a Purple Heart in a storage unit somewhere in Aurora. Hasn't been opened in 12 years. I can't afford the monthly fee anymore, so it's probably gone now. That's what they do with our shit when we can't pay auction it off. That's exactly why Walt wanted this, I said. Because the system failed us, all of us. Earl was quiet for a long moment. Then, your condition said 2 more weeks living like this. You want my advice? Always. Don't waste it feeling sorry for yourself. Use it. Really look at what's happening out here. Because once you're back in the world, once you've got clean clothes and hot meals, you'll forget what it's really like. They all do. He was right. I'd seen it before. Guys who climbed out and never looked back couldn't bear to remember. Will you help me? I asked. When I get this thing started, I'll need someone who knows the streets, who knows what these guys actually need. Earl's laugh was harsh. Me? I'm a drunk, Rob. I haven't been sober more than 3 days in a decade. You're also the smartest guy I know on these streets. You helped me survive the last 4 months. You taught me which shelters were safe, which cops would harass us, where to find food, how to stay warm. You saved my life, Earl. I told you where to find a winter coat. That's not saving a life. It is when it's 20 degrees outside. Earl looked away, but I saw his jaw tighten. Ask me again in 2 weeks. When you've got clean clothes and a full belly, see if you still want a drunk Vietnam vet anywhere near your fancy foundation. Those 2 weeks were the longest of my life. Chen had given me a phone, a cheap burner, just for emergencies and to contact him. I kept it off most of the time, afraid of someone stealing it. But knowing it was there, knowing that in 14 days my life would change completely, it made every moment on the streets feel surreal. I started paying attention differently, really seeing things I'd been too focused on survival to notice before. Like Maria, the woman who'd been a nurse at Denver Health for 12 years before prescription painkillers took everything. She slept in the parking lot of the hospital where she used to work, unable to let go completely. Like Devin, who'd been a police detective until his partner was killed in a shootout. The department offered counseling, but Devin said it wasn't enough. His wife left, his drinking started. His gun was taken away. Now he stood on corners with a cardboard sign that read, "Homeless Veteran," even though he'd never served. He said it got more donations. Like Sarah and Tom, a couple in their 50s who'd both been teachers until Tom's Parkinson's got too bad to work. Medical bills destroyed them. They lived in a 1998 Honda Civic in the Walmart parking lot, showering at the rec center, eating at food banks. They still dressed professionally every morning, like they were going to work. Tom said it helped him remember who he used to be. These weren't statistics, these were people, and I'd been one of them. On day 8, I ran into Jennifer. Not literally. She was in her BMW at a red light on Spear Boulevard, and I was crossing the street with a group of other homeless folks heading to the lunch program at the church. She didn't see me, her eyes slid right over us like we were invisible. But I saw her. Perfectly styled hair, expensive sunglasses, talking on her phone. Probably to her lawyer, or her new boyfriend Marcus, the successful contractor she'd left me for. The rage came sudden and hot. She was the reason I was here. She'd taken our house in the divorce, convinced the judge I was mentally unstable after 28 years of firefighting trauma. She'd gotten most of my pension, some technicality her lawyer found because I'd taken early retirement after a back injury. She turned our daughter Amanda against me, telling her I was dangerous, unpredictable. I'd tried to fight it, spent every dollar I had on legal fees, lost anyway. And when I lost everything, when I called Amanda to ask if I could stay with her for a few weeks until I found my feet, she'd said no. Said her mother warned her. Said she needed to protect her own kids. My grandchildren. I hadn't seen them in 18 months. The light changed. Jennifer drove away in her BMW. I stood there in the intersection until someone grabbed my arm. "You okay, man?" It was Earl. He'd followed me to the church. "That was my ex-wife," I said. "Yeah?" Earl watched the BMW disappear around the corner. "She looks happy. She destroyed my life." "No, she took your money and your house. You let it destroy your life. Big difference." Earl pulled me toward the sidewalk. "You want revenge? The best revenge is building something so good, so successful, that she has to hear about it. That she has to know you didn't just survive, you thrived. You sound like a fortune cookie." I sound like someone who spent 15 years being angry at everyone who betrayed me. It doesn't help, Rob. It just burns you from the inside. The church lunch was chicken noodle soup and white bread. I sat next to Earl and thought about what he'd said. 2 days before my deadline, I was woken up at 3 a.m. by shouting. Devin, the former detective, was in the middle of the street, screaming at cars. Drunk or high, I couldn't tell. Earl was trying to pull him back to the sidewalk, but Devin shoved him hard. Earl went down. I ran over. "Devin, get out of the road." "Why?" He spun on me, wild-eyed. "Give me one good reason why I should care about getting hit. Give me one reason any of this matters." A car swerved around him, horn blaring. "Because tomorrow matters," I said. "Because you get to choose what comes next. I don't have any choices left, Rob. Don't you get it? I'm 43 years old. I was a detective. I had a house and a wife and a future. Now I'm nothing. I'm a ghost." Earl pulled himself up, wincing. "You're not nothing. Easy for you to say. You made peace with this life." "I didn't make peace with shit," Earl snapped. "I just figured out that killing myself fast or slow wasn't going to fix anything. You want to die, Devin? Fine. But don't do it in the middle of Colfax at 3 in the morning. That's just lazy." Devin stared at him, then started laughing. It was an ugly sound. Lazy. Right. Wouldn't want to be lazy about my suicide. I grabbed his arm. Come on, let's get you somewhere safe. We walked him back to the bridge. I stayed until he passed out, then sat with Earl in the cold darkness. You can't save everyone, Earl said quietly. You're going to learn that with this foundation of yours. Some guys don't want to be saved. Some guys are too far gone. And some guys, he paused, some guys will take everything you offer and still choose the streets. But some won't, I said. Some will choose different. Yeah, some will. Earl pulled out his cigarette pack, empty. He crumpled it. That's why you do it, for the some. November 22nd arrived like a gift and a curse. I met David Chen outside the Curtis Hotel at exactly 6 p.m. I was wearing the same clothes I'd been in for 2 weeks. I probably smelled like the dumpster I'd slept behind last night. Chen didn't flinch. You made it. Barely. Good. That's what Walt wanted you to understand. He handed me a key card. Room 847. There's clothing in your size, toiletries, everything you need. Take tonight. Rest. Tomorrow we start the real work. The hotel room was smaller than I expected, and somehow that made it perfect. Not some enormous suite, just a clean room with a real bed and a bathroom with hot water. I stood under the shower for 45 minutes. The water ran gray, then brown, then finally clear. I watched it circle the drain and thought about Earl still sleeping under that bridge, about Maria in the hospital parking lot, about Devin in the street. Tomorrow, I'd start building something for them. Tonight I let myself grieve for the 4 months I'd lost. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. out of habit. Disoriented until I remembered. Hotel room. Clean sheets. Not cold. There was a knock at my door. Room service with breakfast. I didn't order eggs, bacon, toast, orange juice, coffee. Real coffee. The note said, "Eat. We have work to do. Chen." By 9 a.m., I was in Chen's law office downtown, sitting across from him and 2 other people, a woman named Dr. Patricia Rhodes, who specialized in PTSD treatment, and Marcus Webb, a nonprofit consultant. We've drafted the foundation structure based on Walt's guidelines, Chen said, spreading papers across the conference table. Patterson First Responders Foundation. The mission is threefold: immediate assistance for homeless or at-risk first responders, mental health services, and long-term housing support. Patricia leaned forward. The immediate assistance is critical. Most guys spiral because they can't catch a break. 1 bad month turns into 3, turns into a year. If we can interrupt that cycle early, how do we find them? I interrupted. Most guys don't advertise their ex-cops or firefighters. It's shame. That's where you come in, Marcus said. You know the streets now. You know where they gather. And you've got instant credibility. You're not some social worker who read about homelessness. You lived it. Chen slid another paper toward me. Walt allocated $3 million for operating costs in the first year. That includes salaries for staff, rent for an office and temporary housing, medical services, everything. The rest stays in investment accounts to ensure long-term sustainability. $3 million. Just for the first year. I want Earl, I said. Earl Johnson. Vietnam vet. Lives under the Colfax Bridge. I want him on staff. Patricia's eyes narrowed. The Marine? You know him? I tried to get him into the VA program 3 years ago. He refused. Said the VA already failed him once. She made a note. If you can get him to come in, I'll make sure he gets the treatment he needs. No, I said firmly. We don't make treatment a condition. We offer help, not ultimatums. That's how we lost guys at the fire department. We're not repeating those mistakes. The room went quiet. Then Chen smiled. Walt would have said the same thing. We spent 6 hours planning. By the time I left Chen's office, my head was spinning with budgets and timelines and legal structures. But underneath the overwhelm was something I hadn't felt in months. Purpose. I found Earl under the bridge that evening. Brought him a sandwich from a real deli roast beef, his favorite. So? He asked around a mouthful of food. You still rich? Yeah. And I'm still offering you a job. Doing what? Outreach. You know every homeless first responder in Denver. You know their stories, their struggles. I need someone who can connect with them, someone they'll trust. Earl finished chewing slowly. What's it pay? $40,000 a year to start. Health insurance, housing stipend. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. You're serious. Dead serious. But Earl, there's a catch. There always is. The foundation will pay for treatment. Rehab, therapy, whatever you need. But I'm not going to force you. That's your choice. The job is yours regardless. Earl looked at me for a long moment. Why? Because Walt saw something in me worth saving even when I couldn't see it myself. Because you saw something in me worth helping even when I was just another homeless guy. Because maybe it's time we started seeing each other the way we used to see ourselves. His hands trembled. Not from the cold this time. I don't know if I can do it. Get sober, I mean. I've tried before. Then try again, or don't. Either way, you've got a job if you want it. Report to Morrison and Associates Monday morning, 9 a.m. Chen will have your paperwork. I left him with the sandwich and my burner phone number. Didn't push, didn't plead. 2 days later, he showed up at Chen's office at 8:30 a.m., clean-shaven, wearing clothes from the Goodwill, sober. I can't promise I'll stay this way, he said. I can't promise I know what I'm doing, I replied. Guess we'll figure it out together. The foundation opened its office on January 15th, a small space in a converted warehouse near the Denver Rescue Mission. Not fancy, but accessible. Ground floor, no barriers, open door policy. We saw 12 people the first day. By the end of the first month, we'd helped 37. Former firefighters, cops, paramedics, dispatchers, people who'd given years to public service and gotten nothing back when they needed help. Some just needed rent money to avoid eviction. Some needed rehab. Some needed someone to believe in them again. Maria, the former nurse, came in on day 3. Earl recognized her from the hospital parking lot. By the end of the month, she was enrolled in a drug treatment program and working part-time at our office answering phones. Devin, the ex-detective, took longer. He came in drunk one afternoon, belligerent, angry. Earl sat with him for 3 hours, just talking. Devin came back the next week sober. Started attending the PTSD group sessions Dr. Rhodes organized. Sarah and Tom, the teacher couple, were the easiest. They just needed help with Tom's medical bills, and first, last month's rent on an apartment. They cried when we wrote the check, said they'd been applying for assistance for 2 years and always hit bureaucratic walls. No walls here, I told them. Just help. By March, we'd helped over 100 people. The local news did a story, Retired Fire Captain Helps Homeless First Responders. I did the interview reluctantly, keeping Walt's name prominent. This was his vision, his money, his legacy. The story aired on a Thursday evening. On Friday morning, Amanda called. I almost didn't recognize my daughter's voice. 38 years old, a dental hygienist, married with 2 kids. My grandchildren I'd never met. Dad? Uncertain. Scared, maybe. I saw you on the news. Amanda. My throat closed up. Hi, Mom said. She told me you were dangerous, that you were unstable, that I shouldn't. She stopped. I didn't know you were homeless. I thought you were just. I don't know what I thought. Your mother wasn't completely wrong. I was pretty messed up after the divorce. You're helping people now. Trying to. Silence on the line. Then, would it be okay if I visited the foundation? Brought the kids? They should meet their grandfather. I couldn't speak. Just nodded. Realized she couldn't see me, choked out. Yes. She came the next Tuesday. Brought Ryan, age 8, and Sophie, age 5. They were shy at first, hiding behind Amanda's legs. But Ryan saw the fire department patches on my office wall, my old station, my old crew, and lit up. You were a firefighter? For 28 years. That's so cool. Did you rescue people? Sometimes. Mostly I just tried to keep my crew safe. Sophie tugged on my sleeve. Mommy says you live in a big hotel now. Amanda's face flushed. Sophie, I did live in a hotel for a little while, I said gently. But now I have an apartment. Nothing fancy, but it's home. Would you like to see it sometime? Both kids looked at Amanda. She looked at me, really looked, seeing the clean clothes, the clear eyes, the office full of people getting help. I think that would be nice, she said quietly. Maybe this weekend? It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a start. That evening, Earl found me sitting alone in the office after everyone left. Your daughter seemed nice, he said. She is. Better than I deserve. Nobody gets what they deserve, Rob. We get what we get, and we make choices about what to do with it. He sat down across from me. I'm 60 days sober tomorrow. Yeah? Yeah. Dr. Rhodes thinks I should try the VA program again. Said she'd go with me, make sure they don't blow me off this time. That's good, Earl. Really good. It's terrifying, is what it is. But, he paused. I've been thinking about what Walt wrote in that letter. About saving people the way you saved him. Maybe that's what we're all doing here, saving each other. Maybe. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Earl asked, You ever think about revenge? Against your ex-wife, I mean. She's the reason you ended up on the streets. I thought about Jennifer in her BMW. About the rage I'd felt. About Earl's words. The best revenge is building something good. Sometimes, I admitted. But then I think about this place. About Maria answering phones and going to night classes to get her nursing license back. About Devin leading the PTSD group because he's the only one who really understands. About Sarah and Tom in their own apartment, not sleeping in a car. About you, 60 days sober. That's not revenge, Earl said. No, it's better. 6 months after opening the foundation, we'd helped over 300 people. The local news did a follow-up story, then a national news outlet picked it up. The phone wouldn't stop ringing other cities wanting to know how to replicate our program, donors offering money, first responders reaching out for help. I hired more staff, got a bigger office space, opened a second location. The foundation Walt left me was growing beyond anything I'd imagined. One afternoon in late summer, I was reviewing applications when the receptionist buzzed me. Mr. Patterson, there's someone here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's personal. Who is it? Jennifer Patterson. My ex-wife stood in the waiting room looking smaller than I remembered. Older. Her expensive clothes and perfect hair couldn't hide the uncertainty in her eyes. Hello, Rob. Jennifer. I kept my voice neutral. What do you want? Can we talk? Privately? I led her to my office, aware of Earl watching from across the room. He gave me a subtle nod. You got this. Jennifer sat in the visitor's chair clutching her purse. I saw the news stories. About what you're doing here. Okay. I wanted to. She stopped, started again. I need to apologize. I waited. Everything I said during the divorce. About you being unstable, dangerous. I was angry. You were so dedicated to the job, and I felt like I always came second. When you retired early because of your back, I saw it as giving up. I didn't understand what you'd sacrificed. Her voice cracked. I didn't understand what the job took from you. No, you didn't. Marcus and I broke up. 6 months ago. Turns out he was just interested in the divorce settlement money. She laughed bitterly. Ironic, right? Jennifer, why are you here? Amanda told me about the kids meeting you, about how good you are with them, about this place and how many people you're helping. She looked up at me, eyes red. I tried to destroy you, Rob. I took everything and convinced myself you deserved it. Then I saw you on the news, and I realized you're a better person now than you were when we were married. Despite everything I did. Maybe because of it. I spent 4 months homeless because of what you did. I know. I lost my pension, my home, my daughter. I slept behind dumpsters. I ate from trash cans. I nearly died in a freezing December night because someone stole my sleeping bag. My voice was steady. No anger now, just facts. That was you. Your choices. Your lawyer. I know. Tears ran down her face. I'm so sorry. I looked at this woman I'd spent 35 years with, who'd given me Amanda, who'd been there for the good times and most of the bad, who'd also betrayed me when I needed her most. I forgive you, I said quietly. She looked up, stunned. Not because you deserve it, not because I'm over it, but because I'm done carrying anger around. It's too heavy, Jennifer. I don't have room for it anymore. The foundation, she said hesitantly. "If you ever need volunteers, or—" "No." Firm but not cruel. "This isn't your redemption, it's mine. You want to make amends? Be a better mother to Amanda. Be a better grandmother to those kids. Leave me out of it." She nodded, wiping her eyes. "Okay, fair. But Jennifer?" I waited until she looked at me. "Thank you for signing those papers. If you hadn't, I never would have ended up on the streets. Never would have met Earl or Walt Morrison's lawyer. Never would have built this place. You gave me the greatest gift possible. You showed me who I really am when everything else is stripped away." She left without another word. Earl came into my office 10 minutes later. "You okay?" "Yeah. Actually, I am." "That's real forgiveness, then. The kind that sets you free instead of just making the other person feel better." "Something like that." I looked around my office, the photos on the wall of people we'd helped, the certificates of appreciation from the mayor and the police chief, Amanda's drawing from Ryan that said, "World's best grandpa." "Walt knew what he was doing," Earl said. "How do you figure? He could have just given you the money, made it easy. But he made you spend 2 more weeks on the streets first. Made you really see what you were building for. Made you remember." He was right. If I'd gotten the money that first day with Chen, I might have taken it and run. Might have focused on my own comfort, my own revenge. But those 2 weeks combined with the 4 months before had changed something fundamental in me. I'd learned that I was stronger than I thought. That kindness could be revolutionary. That saving others was how you saved yourself. "You think Walt's watching?" I asked. "If he is, he's probably laughing at us stumbling through this. Or proud." "Yeah," Earl smiled. "Or proud." The foundation celebrated its 1-year anniversary on January 15th. We'd helped over 700 people. Our success rate, people who remained housed and employed 1 year after assistance, was 72%. The local fire department came to the celebration. My old crew, guys I hadn't seen since my retirement. They presented me with my old helmet, restored and mounted on a plaque. The inscription read, "Captain Robert Patterson, still saving lives." Amanda and the kids were there. Ryan wore a junior firefighter costume. Sophie drew pictures of fire trucks to hang in the waiting room. Maria was there, 6 months into her nursing program, already working weekends at Denver Health again. Devin was there, 2 weeks away from finishing a criminal justice degree, planning to work as a counselor for at-risk youth. Sarah and Tom were there, both teaching again. Tom at a community college, adapted schedule for his Parkinson's. Sarah at an elementary school. And Earl was there, 9 months sober, running our outreach program, training new volunteers, still the smartest guy I knew. Chen arrived late, carrying a box. "One more thing from Walt," he said. Inside was a medal, Walt's Medal of Valor from 1989, the same award I'd received in 2008. The note attached said, "Rob, I'm leaving this to you because you'll understand what it really means. It's not about the fire we walked into. It's about the fire we carry forward to light the way for others. Keep fighting the good fight. Walt." I held that medal and thought about the warehouse that almost killed me as a rookie, about Walt pulling me out, about me pulling him from that apartment 12 years later, about him pulling me from the streets 30 years after that. We're all just saving each other, over and over. That's the job. That's always been the job. At the end of the celebration, Earl pulled me aside. "There's someone outside. Another first responder. Just hit the streets last week. Paramedic, divorced, lost everything. Sound familiar?" "Yeah," I said. "It does." We walked out together to meet him. A man in his 40s, standing in the doorway looking lost and ashamed and terrified. The same look I'd had when Chen found me behind that dumpster. I walked up to him and held out my hand. "Hey," I said. "I'm Rob. I've been where you are, and I'm here to tell you this doesn't have to be your ending. This can be your beginning." He took my hand. His grip was desperate. "Come inside," I said. "Let's figure out what comes next." Because that's what we do now. Earl and Maria, and Devin and me, and everyone else who crawled out of the darkness. We reach back down for the next person. We light the way. We save each other. And maybe that's the best revenge of all, not against the people who hurt us, but against the darkness that tried to swallow us. We refuse to be destroyed. We refuse to be forgotten. We refuse to let others fall the way we almost did. We're warriors, after all. That's what Walt understood. That's what the streets taught me. The fight isn't always with fire. Sometimes it's with the cold of a Denver winter and the hopelessness in a man's eyes. Sometimes it's with the system that fails our heroes. Sometimes it's with our own demons. But we fight. We survive. We help others do the same. 3 weeks ago, I bought an apartment building. Nothing fancy, 20 units in Capitol Hill. I'm converting it to transitional housing for first responders. Earl's gonna manage it. Last week, Amanda asked if I'd walk her daughter Sophie down the aisle someday. She's 5. The wedding is hypothetical. But the invitation to be part of their future, that's real. Yesterday, I got a call from a fire captain in Seattle. Wants to start a foundation like ours. I'm flying out next month to help them build it. Tomorrow, I'll do it all again. Open the doors, answer the phone, listen to the stories, offer hope where I can. Practical help always, judgment never. Because at 62, after 28 years as a firefighter, after the worst divorce imaginable, after 4 months on the streets and a $34 million inheritance, I never expected I finally understand what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to be a captain again. Not of a fire crew, but of something bigger. A movement, maybe. A revolution of kindness. A refusal to let good people disappear into the cracks of a system that should protect them. Walt Morrison gave me more than money. He gave me a mission, a purpose, a reason to wake up every morning and fight. And I'm going to honor that gift the only way I know how. By saving as many people as I can. One firefighter, one cop, one paramedic at a time. By being the person I needed when I was at my lowest. By proving that rock bottom isn't an ending, it's a foundation. Something solid to build on. Something strong enough to hold up everyone who comes after. The boots that woke me that November morning belonged to a lawyer bringing me salvation. But the real salvation came from choosing to use that gift, not for revenge, not for comfort, but for purpose. Earl was right. The best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. It's becoming the person they never thought you could be, and then reaching back to help others do the same.